Welcome to Texas Live with K5, your premier destination for everything outdoors in North Texas. From hunting and fishing to the latest gear and local expertise, we're here to fuel your passion for the great outdoors.
Welcome to Texas Live with K5, guys. This is our fifth episode. Welcome. A really close friend of mine, Gary. If you want to talk about hunting, here he is, guys. So I think he's hunted just about everything under the sun. What's up, Gary?
What's going on, Tim?
Man,
how are you?
Man, I'm great, dude. Thanks for coming on, dude. We've been trying to do this for a while.
Yeah, I know we've been trying to get together for a while now. We, of course, I've been running around. Of course, it's September, so we're hunting elk. We're running around. We went to Idaho at the beginning of the month. We waited around to the end of September, kind of waiting for the full moon to go away, get that new moon, get the fall solstice. Everything was kind of lining up like idea this year. Everybody was talking like, hey, this is going to be like the day. Like if there was ever going to say, hey, this is the day to be in the elk woods, the 21st of this year was going to be the day.
Wow.
And last time I was up there when this happened, of course, we had a good dusting of snow, but man, bulls were popping off everywhere. We were calling bulls in left and right. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite that good this year. Don't get me wrong. We got on a bunch. We killed a really good bull. We had an absolute blast. You know, it was one of these years that I was thankful to be there when I was. You know, the weather was kind of hit or miss, but man, it was awesome.
Earlier, the better. When you're up there, I mean, I'm like, I've got some friends of mine that drew tags for late, and I didn't know. I mean, I would think earlier.
Yeah,
Pressure's not near as bad.
Yeah, pressure's not near as bad. You know, especially if you have the elk patterned really well, which I've got a buddy in New Mexico. He's got it elk forever, and his old saying is, "Let me tell you, friend." He's like, "The elk are going to do what the elk want to do." That's what he says, and that's true, man. They are going to do whatever they want to do. But if you get up there real early season and you can kind of catch them still in that summertime pattern real quick, right at the beginning, I know a lot of locals up there, man. They hammer the bulls the first few days of the season, but once them elk catch on and start getting choused at all, man, they can, for as big of an animal as they are, they can sound like a mouse going through the woods, and then they can be gone in a matter of seconds.
Wow, man. And so they, I guess, so did y'all draw tags up there?
Yeah, we drew. I had a couple of good buddies of mine. They drew unit that I know really well. It's a pretty easy draw for an out-of-stater. Since Colorado went all draw for archery, you know, I guess it's been 2-3 years. We hunted the unit a lot before it went draw. And now that it's went drawing, I think it's just gotten better, but you can still pretty much draw it every year. But they drew tags, and they were, hey, you going with us? And I ain't going to miss the September in the Elkwood. So I was like, I did last year, went to Alaska, went on caribou deal, all that. And that was an absolute blast. Alaska's a beautiful place. You know, a lot of people go up there, go fishing, all that. We went up there. We're real big, you know, public land, DIY. We want to just put boots on the ground and go hunt. You know, that's what we live for. And so we went up there and done that, missed it. So, you know, I had an itch, and I'm like, I'm going back. I've got to go this year. It don't matter. So I got lucky and drew a rifle tag in New Mexico. We're leaving in a few weeks. But, yeah, they drew that tag. They're like, hey, you're going. I was like, okay. Like, sounds good. So leftover list come around. I didn't draw anything. I put in for some different units and trying to gain some points up before the 2028. They're going to change it to where, like, there's some lottery in there. And so it's going to kind of make it harder to draw units because point creep's going to go really up, but there's also going to be a lottery factor in there where it's just totally random. So you could be a totally random draw and get like a 20-30 point unit that's like a dream unit.
Wow.
Know? So it's going to be really cool, I think, when they do that. But I'm trying to gain some points before then, try to get one more good bull tag, and then I'm just going to try to go lottery route. But they drew that tag. Of course, I said, yeah, I'll pull the deer tag off leftover list because we always run into a good deer. And we did run into a good deer, didn't get a good opportunity on him, nothing like that. But we ended up killing a really good bull, called in a few more. You know, it turned out to be a great, successful hunt. We all had a blast.
Man, I've heard of three things. You better be in shape. Whenever you hear the bugle, the hair stands up on the back of your neck,
Oh yeah.
and the work starts after you fire the shot. So are
Dude,
those three true for?
that is the most truest thing you could say about elk hunting. I'll tell you what, like we we that bull come in dead silent. Of course, they were popping off, they were talking stuff like that. This bull come in dead silent. We were doing some little cow call sequences. He come in, but he got a shot on him. You know, we got the bull down. Of course, this was his first time. You know, first time elk hunting. Wanted to go with us. You know, he's a hunter. Like, he likes to hunt, but he showed up on Sunday, Wednesday evening, shoots 300-inch public land. You know, for this unit, dude, that's a dream bull. You know, like, dude, spoiled, man. 2.5 days in the elk woods and you kill a 300-inch bull on your first time ever, like,
Ruined.
ruined. That's what I told him. I said, man, you're never going to relive this moment right here. But then when we loaded those packs up, I don't know that he wanted to relive it anytime soon, you know.
That's so funny, man.
We had a 1.5 miles down some pretty steep stuff. You know, luckily we weren't in too far. 1.5 miles down some pretty steep stuff. Had to make two trips. And he was like, well, I'll pass on another one of those for a few days, maybe next year.
Did y'all make him carry most of the heavy stuff? I mean, I guess, is the head the heaviest part, or
The head's the most awkward part, and so we actually, his bag, the way his bag was, like I said, his first time, so he really didn't have, I'd say, I guess, the best bag for toting the head. So my other buddy, he took the head. I took a hind quarter and a little bit in a small bag of loose meat we had that was our 7th bag, and then he took the other hind quarter, and we went down, and then we come back, loaded back up again. You know, I'd say probably 2 full trips. You know, the head trip, that head's heavy, man. You're talking about all that cape, the head, everything, and we were trying to get it down, get down to where we had a better surface to scalpel it out and everything. And of course, we were fighting dark and all that stuff. We wanted to try to get down somewhat early. We're like, oh, it's 1.5 miles. We won't worry about cutting the head out. And then I know the buddy of mine taking that head down afterwards, he was like, oh boy, we should have just took the hide off that sucker. It was heavy. But yeah, it was a good 2 trips. The legs were jello-y when you got to the bottom, I promise.
I bet, man. I mean, and then, you know, with elevation and stuff up there, not being able to breathe, I imagine it. I mean, for a fat boy like me, I'd definitely have to get in shape, I guarantee you.
Oh yeah, we do lots of walking. I do lots of walking to get ready. You know, usually I come back and I'm probably the lightest I'll be all year when I get back from up there, because I get in that elevation, they start bugling, and food's the last thing on my mind. I'm like, we're gonna go kill food. That's what we're going to do, you know. And so I get really excited. I just can't stop and eat, really. I just want to go hunt. But yeah, there's that unit we hunt in. It's a young man place. Like, it's a lot of up and down, a lot of steep terrain, lots and lots of downfall. Like, it's real steep. You know, talking some days we come right out. It's 1,500 foot elevation change.
Wow.
Straight up, you're just switch back, going up, you know, get to the top, you know, and usually the other side breaks off about the same way. So you're kind of running ridge lines, running saddles, waiting to hear them bugles to where you can make a move and make a precise move. That way you're not wasting a ton of energy.
Wow. Man, that's wild. Sounds like fun. I'd love to do it one time.
Oh.
I mean, but I've got one of them issues where if I do it one time, I'm going to do it again. Like, you know, last year I told you, went up to western Kansas and went quail and pheasant hunting, and went goose hunting in Texas. First time I'd ever done that before. I almost talked myself out of doing it, but now that I've done it, I came back wanting to get a dog, wanting to, you know, sent my shotgun off to get it all ready to go. I'm like all about it, you know, so I imagine that same way.
It's the same
know.
way. It is the same way. And I'm the same way. Like, the first time I went quail pheasant hunting, I came back and I'm like, I need a dog. I need this. I need that. My wife's like, no more dogs. You've already got a dog. You're already working with him all the time. No more dogs. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. Luckily, I got a couple buddies got dogs, so we still go all the time.
Key to a happy marriage. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. That ain't no lie.
Man, you said you and a friend of yours, I guess, drew tags in New Mexico.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
is it the same? I mean, is it different? I don't know. I didn't know if elk hunting's elk hunting or.
Well, yeah, it's the same. It's a little different. The unit we drew in New Mexico is a little different. New Mexico's a total lottery, just total luck of the draw state. And last year we got some cow tags up there bought from a landowner, and those cow tags usually are just landowner specific only or resident, and so the only way a non-resident can get one is buy one not over the counter, but from some landowner. And so we went up there, killed a couple cows, put some meat in the freezer. That was the whole purpose. Take my dad, my uncle. I wanted to take them, do something like that because it's been a while and they're kind of getting to the age they can't hike that stuff like we can. And so took them. They shot a couple. We put them in the freezer, stuff like that. And then I saw some bulls up there, and it was a unit I'd never really hunted before. And so I thought, heck, this year let's just swing for it and try it. It don't hurt. And so I was like, what's our best odds? And I'm running the numbers, getting on hunting full and everything, looking all the numbers, trying to figure out what draw odds are. And I figured out rifle is going to be the best. We're not big rifle hunters, but we all got guns. So we went ahead and put in for it. And heck, if we didn't draw. So we did see some bulls, so we're crossing our fingers that they're still going to kind of be in them areas. We might have to hustle a little bit, but it's a good unit. It's easy to get around on, so it won't be like we're killing ourselves like we did in Colorado.
So how long are y'all going to be up there?
It's a 5-day season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
man, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's it.
Doesn't seem like it's very long,
Mm-hmm.
So the chances of you catching like we're fishing, the chances of you seeing a big bull are pretty good.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, full lottery and then a short season.
Yeah, full lottery, short season. They don't draw a whole lot of tags. That's why it's kind of like me and this buddy actually put in together, which I've always kind of been against because I'm like, I don't think our odds are going to be that great because there's got to be a certain quota of tags left for two people to get drawn together. And we nabbed it, and I'm like, how did this happen?
Wow.
Wife put in, put her friend in, put some other friends in. Nobody else draws, and we draw, and we're put in as a group. So
wow.
We were pretty fortunate to get in.
And y'all hunt together all the time.
Yeah,
so,
we hunt together.
Y'all are like, one the right hand's gonna know what the left hand's doing.
Oh,
so
yeah.
y'all ought to get something, man.
Oh yeah, we ought to get something down for sure. There's no doubt in my mind. We'll find something. We'll run into something. We're gonna push it till we do, one way or another. We're gonna kill. Like it ain't matter if we are. It's just hopefully 5 days is enough. We can get up there. They're kind of in the same area they are. Luckily, my little buddy I was talking about a while ago that guides up there, he also runs cattle in this area.
Okay.
So he's doing some intel for us.
Good.
He's going to know. This is where they're at,
Okay.
So we're hoping we can get in there and just wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, get out.
Well, good deal, man. We, when we went up there, and with that, and we're going to have him on, his name's Sam. He's a big time waterfowl hunter. And it was funny because the whole time we're on our way up there to hunt geese. He's sending us videos and pictures, and he's out scouting the fields, man. So whenever you're telling me about that guy, that's kind of what I'm thinking about with Sam.
Oh yeah, he's out there horseback. He's riding around. It's funny. He's part Indian, part Hispanic, and he always likes to call me Pilgrim. Hey Pilgrim, I got your elk found over here.
That's hilarious, man. That's so awesome. I guess that elk's pretty good eating.
Oh, dude,
Is it?
It's hard to beat. Even you shoot, everybody around here, shoot them a good doe, something freezer queen, get some good meat out of her, and buck kind of got a rank taste to a little bit, and the elk are kind of the same way. The cows eat really well, but really even the bulls eat really good. I ain't found a tough elk yet. My wife, she's pretty picky. When we were pregnant, first time, freezer went out. And she can't ever look at deer meat the same again after smelling that.
I bet.
And so, she's like, we need some elk in the freezer. We need elk now.
You're like, man, she had to twist your arm to get you to go do that, huh?
Oh, yeah. Twist my arm a little harder this time.
That's so funny, man. I love it. Well, guys, stay with us. We're going to take a little break real quick, and we'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by K5 Trolling Motors and Electronics out in Weatherford, Texas. If you need a trolling motor worked on, if you're looking to upgrade those electronics, give us a call. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. The phone number is 817-757-9915. Welcome back to Texas Live with K5. Got a really good friend of mine, Gary, here. We're talking hunting. I think you've hunted just about everything.
I've hunted a lot. South Africa, tried to go all over North America. I ain't got it all done yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, what were y'all were hunting some kind of an exotic cow last year, weren't you, or something? What was it that y'all?
We
I can't. It may have been 2 years ago. I can't remember, but I know it was something wild.
oh yeah, shoot, we hunt everything. I don't even remember if it's bears, caribou, elk, goats. We're gonna if it can be hunted, we're gonna try to hunt it.
Man,
I promise you.
That's awesome. I can't imagine that Alaska trip because one of my best friends, he just got back, first trip to Alaska. He's trying to get me to book a trip with him next year, but they just went on a fishing trip. It was basically they flew into Seattle, then they flew from there into Alaska somewhere and jumped on a puddle jumper plane, which took them to a boat that was anchored in the middle of the river, and then they took little boats out, and that's what they went fishing every day. And he said it was just a crazy experience.
The amount of animals and the amount of fish up there is insane.
That's what
it is. Like you can go up there and like walk out one morning drinking coffee by a river when the salmon are running, and you can catch your daily limit by the time you get your eggs done on the stove.
Man,
it's insane.
He said he's supposed to be bringing me some of it, but I guess you can take your fish back to the villages or whatever, and they'll smoke the salmon for you, put it in jars, and that's how they got it back or whatever. He brought some back fresh, but some of it was smoked, and he said that canned smoked salmon is some of the best you'll ever have.
Dude, so it's amazing. It's amazing.
But anyway, man, sorry to get off subject there, but I was wanting to talk about bow hunting a little bit because the season just opened up. Man, I've kind of been spoiled with some of the deer that I've killed. I hunted a little bitty old place here in Parker County, was loaded with toads, and now I've kind of lost the drive to want to go sit on a feeder, so it kind of my biggest thing this year is I want to go kill a public land deer.
Yeah.
No feeder, no nothing, just walk in, walk out with a deer. But anyway, anything of what's going on in the season this year?
Man, not really. I'll be honest with you. We got up there chasing elk, and it ran into the opening weekend of bow season, which was crazy because it kind of feels like it opened up so early, and the temperature's been so hot.
Yeah.
And so we've been watching cameras left and right. Buddy of mine up there, he shot a really good, just straight 8. About 140, 142, just a big hammer of a night. And up there in Graham, he's buddy up there. He owns a Clear Fork Country up there, a little hunting outdoor store. We call it the Mini Cabela's. He's got a big rock wall with everything on it, and he just added on a bunch of square footage. And they sell bows, guns, suppressors, anything you could ask for. They've got it there in store. They do processing. Heck, he sells hunts.
Man,
they've got a place, got some red deer on it. There's a high fence portion of it, but then there's a lot of it's low fence. Probably one of the only places you go in the state of Texas and consistently see red deer day in, day out, low fence. Wow. And also, they got a bunch of land up there that they guide hunts on, stuff like that. And up there at the store, of course, you kill something, bring it in there, they'll cut it up, do whatever you want to with it. They make great sausage, stuff like that.
And it's Clear Fork Outfitters?
Yeah, Clear Fork Country. It's in Graham.
Okay.
Of course, you can find them on Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that. You want to reach out to them, you can give them a call, 940-521-0000. They got a silencer shop kiosk. I know silencers are a big deal right now with tax stamps going away next year. People are hot and heavy on silencers. They cover you about any gun you could ask for. They got Vortex. They got all your scopes. Vortex, Zeiss, Loophole, any kind of optics you could want. They got thermals. When I say they got it all, they got First Light camo in store. They have everything. They got bows. They're Matthews dealer, Darton dealer, Expedition dealer. Anything you get hooked up on, they can hook you up there.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah.
I've stopped in there a couple times, working out there in the area, and it's pretty impressive, guys. I'm telling you, if you are in that area, stop in and just check it out.
Yep. Cheapest corn you can find too, dude. $6.99 a bag was what I think they were selling it for the other day. 50
Wow.
pound bag, $6.99, $7.99, something like that. 50-pound bag of corn. It's like nobody sells it that cheap.
No.
You know, you
I
go
used to
get
drive all the way to Bucky's because
Yeah.
it was $6.99 a bag, and they're
Yeah.
not even doing it for that anymore.
Oh
So-
no, they're not doing it anymore. No,
So.
they're not. So, but yeah, they got it going on out there, man. They've definitely put that spot on the map out there, and he's making a name and doing really good things out there, really good things for the community and stuff like that. A lot of people, you know, they got leases head out that way, stuff like that. Some people it's a little out of the way, but and I tell you, if you get out that way, you got to stop by and check it out.
Yeah, it's kind of right in the middle of the heart of hunting. I mean, really.
Yeah, being out there between kind of the metro, I would say the metro, and then getting out there around that Throckmorton, Seymour, Albany, you know, it's kind of right in the way as you're heading out there.
Yeah.
And you get to about Graham out that way. That kind of starts opening up that bigger country where you start finding a lot of these bigger leases that people are on. And so, man, he put that little store together, bought it. Mostly they just done processing, and then he went in there and opened up full retail, and I'm talking just blew it away.
Man, that's awesome.
He's great, but no, it's been good. It's been good. Like I said, we're running some whitetail hunts, red deer hunts, all that stuff. Anybody wondering, you know, there's some good deer out that way. A lot of good country. They manage it, keep feeders out, all that stuff.
You help him guide some?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got some, and then, of course, I'm over here scratching myself to death right now because I got a dog. I do some tracking and stuff with my little dog I got, and I took him up on Sunday. Had a buddy of mine in Oklahoma, and I'll tell you, I don't know about the bugs up there, boy, but they got a hold of me, and they wanted to eat my Texas bud. I promise you, they wanted me to get back home. You know, they were eating me alive, and shoot, I had to go get me a shot today. Something I said, boy, I got to get rid of this itching. You know, like this is I didn't hardly sleep last night at all because the bugs ate me up. Chiggers, pepper ticks, seed ticks, whatever they call them. I don't know what they were, but they were mean. I promise you.
Did y'all find the deer?
Man, it was a crazy deal. He shoots this deer. He waits a couple hours. Deer lays down. We're headed up there. He accidentally jumps him up, just trying to look for some blood. And man, it was just like, of course, this dog, he's 2.5. You know, we're getting into this. I've been around a lot of good tracking dogs, stuff like that. Decided to get one for myself, and I trained him up myself, everything. They trained him straight off that. Deer have a deal in their foot, like right in here in the middle. A lot of people don't know this, but a lot of people think that we train them on blood. There's a gland right here in the middle called an interdigital gland, and when a deer's under distress, it puts out a certain, like a scent, like a scent out of its gland, and that's what I train the dogs on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's like a lot of dogs, people back in the day, they just track deer. Well, them dogs would pick up that scent from being on these deer, sniffing the blood, sniffing the scent. Well, now they actually bottle that scent, and so it's kind of waxy, and then they kind of mix it with oil, and there's a couple of companies that bottle it, and so I've trained him on that ever since he was a puppy. But that deer laid down for a couple hours, and they got him up. Said he just bounced off like normal, like he wasn't even hurt, but he could see it hit him way far back. So, I don't know. I'm thinking that deer laid down, got comfortable again, and maybe wasn't putting the scent out. I talked to a good buddy of mine. He's been tracking for a long, long time down in South Texas. He told me, he's like, man, he goes, that deer might have laid down, got comfortable again, wasn't under distress, and so he wasn't putting that scent out. He said, your dog probably couldn't get him lined out again.
Huh.
That was the 5th deer we've been on this year, and he's found all of them but it.
Wow.
So, don't get me wrong, it was a little bit of a heart jerker because it was a good friend of ours. Biggest deer he's ever shot with his bow. So I was really wanting him to go put the smack down on him and go find him. You know, we Saturday night we come out, actually over here, Springtown. God shot a deer, crossbow, fixed blade. When it went in through that front shoulder, it broke 2 of the blades off on it. So that broadhead's dang near a field tip at this point. Blows all the way through the deer. Not a drop one of blood. Wow. And I dropped the dog on him. His nose hits the ground. He locked right on. 10 minutes, 350, 380 yards, I think was on his collar. And, man, he went into a briar patch. I'm talking, we were on our hands and knees crawling in there to go find this deer. And, you know, torn up with briars, everything else. And go to Oklahoma and get eat alive by the bugs the next day, you know. But no, it's been pretty neat. I ran him a good bit last year. A lot of deer I shot, stuff like that. I ran him on. A lot of deer I shot, a lot of deer friends shot, all the deer clients shot. I was dropping him probably 40 deer last year, maybe 50, and he had a really high success rate. I think there was only 2 or 3 we didn't find last year, and they were, I think, brisket shots. One was a leg shot, and he just couldn't get him shut down being a puppy. He didn't really know what he was doing yet, so I got him on a couple more live deer before the end of the season, and he was really. I put him on one the other night, and he bait him up. Couldn't get a shot on. Deer broke. His leg shot, bow deer. He ended up running that deer 3 miles before we got the deer dispatched.
Wow.
And he was not a drop of blood for almost a mile, and he just locked it on him and took off. And he came back to me once, and I could see them ears perked up, and his tail was sticking straight. I'm learning more and more about him. Every dog acts a little different. And so the other day when he was on that deer in Oklahoma, the first time he came back to me, the way he was acting, I just told that guy, I said, man, this ain't looking good. He said, why? I said, this dog, he's just acting like nothing's here. And he's like, what? I'm like, I hate to tell you this, but that's kind of how he's acting. And so it's fun, especially watching a dog. Like I said, I've been around a lot of really good dogs. This one I got now, he's a little Bavarian mountain hound. That's what he is, straight scent dog, and he's doing really good. But got on that one this week, didn't make it happen, or Sunday didn't make it happen. But everything else, man, he's hammered them.
About if somebody was to call you about how long, how far will you go?
Man, I'll go a couple hours.
Okay.
Two and a half, 3 hours. I do it, like I usually charge somebody a little bit to show up just because I'm putting mileage and everything on,
For sure.
And usually after that, kind of, hey, tips, 200, something like that. Like, it's a lot of work for me, the dog, stuff like that. A lot of time it's middle of the night. I know a lot of guys, there's some guys out there, man, they're a couple hundred show up 200-300 when they find them, and don't get me wrong, they got really good, just seasoned 4, 5, 6-year-old dogs that have put 100, 200 dogs on, or a couple hundred, 300, 400 deer on a tailgate, like great dogs, and nothing, I'm trying, getting in there, putting the work in, everything else, making a hand myself. Like, I'm not gonna give up on it, I promise you. There's a couple guys out there though, and they're in this area too, and I don't want to take nothing away from them guys because them guys know what they're doing
Right.
a lot more than I do. Of course, I want to learn. I want to be at their level though. So, how do you get there? You gotta get out and do it. Whether you shoot them yourself or a couple people call you here and there, that's the main thing. At the end of the day, I want people to find their trophies. I don't want deer to go to waste. That I hunt them, everything else, but there's a respect there. The respect I have for those animals, they're special, like everybody says, how can you kill something so special? It's a appreciation deal, respect, appreciation, how much you love the animals, creatures. Heck, we raise deer too on the side.
Oh,
got
really?
A little breeding operation. My dad been running, had it for about 20 years. Not a whole lot, mostly just stalker deer and stuff, but we love wildlife, love them. I just want them, I got that dog. I want to see people get, find their animals. That's the main thing I want to do, especially kids, man. Like last year, I told any kid, I was like, heck, I'll come out, you got fuel money, I'll come find that deer. I'm going to try to, Of course, you got the other guys like, they're Ricky I'm sorry if I butchered this, Ricky Loftus or something like that. He's over around the Metroplex. And then I know out there at Graham, or the other side of Graham, there's a guy out there, Michael Moore, River Bottom Trackers. They both got good, solid dogs. I hope this little dog makes something like what they got one of these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, there ain't no worse feeling than losing an animal because probably about, I don't know, we had a lease in Jacksboro, and I had never killed anything with a bow yet, and I'm up in the tree. I just literally a couple of days before that, me and my father-in-law were on this trail. He goes, "Man, we need to put a ladder stand right there. No feeder.
Yeah.
Big giant buck comes in. Not a giant anymore, but back then it was a giant to me,
Oh yeah.
And so it comes in, and I got impatient and took a shot that I probably didn't need to take, and the buck was quartering to me, and I took the shot.
Yeah.
I he was acting stupid because there was a doe right there, and I just didn't know how much longer I was going to have. Now looking back on it, it doesn't matter. I need to wait for a good shot.
Yeah.
The chances are he probably would have given me a shot, or I could have got him in the next couple of days, or waited till
Oh,
gun season, something. I learned my lesson because this big one that's right here in the corner, it come in 65 yards every single time. It would come in at 65 yards, just outside of what I felt comfortable to shoot. And then during gun season, I shot him at 25 yards with a 308.
Oh
It
my
was,
God.
I waited, and it paid off then.
Yeah.
It didn't, and that deer ran off, and I didn't jump him or anything. Found blood, found my arrow. Everything looked good. I called a tracking dog. I can't remember who they were, but they were out of Jacksboro. This
Okay.
guy comes up, and he's got a little rat terrier.
Yeah.
Gets out of the truck, and I looked at him and I said, "Man, is that what you're going to use to track my deer?" And he goes, "This dog's got a heck of a nose." I said, "Well, what's he going to do when he finds him? If he's still alive?" He opens the tailgate, and a blue lacy jumps out, and he
Yeah.
goes, "This one right here will take care of that." And I went, "Okay." And so anyway, man, they looked and looked, and finally his dogs came back to him, and he looked at his dogs just like you said, and he goes, "Man, this deer's still alive." And I
Yeah.
went, "Really?" And sure as crap, man, we seen him on camera,
Wow.
and that deer lived. I mean, I don't know, man. I felt terrible though, and I haven't ever
Oh,
made
yeah.
a bad shot since, just because I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, I lost the same deal, man. I lost the biggest deer I've ever shot in South Texas. That's one of the reasons why I'm like, I've got to get a dog. Like, I've got to get my own. That way he's with me. That way I've got one whenever I need to drop one. And then after we went to South Africa and seeing all the dogs over there and how they work, like you're saying, Jack Russells, man, everybody had a Jack Russell in their truck in
Yeah.
South Africa.
I didn't know what kind of dog it was, but it's like a little wishbone dog. That basically. I mean,
Yeah.
it blew me away. That dog had so much energy, but he told me, he goes, "Man, this dog get through them briars a lot easier than that big blue lacy dog will."
Oh,
And I
yeah,
went,
yeah.
Really? He goes, "Yeah."
That little dog I'm running, he's about 45 pounds. He's just a little red dog, a little black face on him, long tail, big old floppy hound ears.
Man.
Got a crazy good nose on him though, and heck, I'll take him. I'll put a couple drops of that interdigital gland scent on a piece of deer hide. I'll go drag it one evening. Next morning, I'll go drop him on it. Heck, half mile, 3/4 a mile, he'll go find it.
Really?
Yeah, dude, he's got a crazy good nose on him. That from a puppy, he had a good nose. I was like, I can make a dog out of him, and he's making it there. He might not have the shutdown power of like some of them bigger dogs like you're talking about, but he'll dang sure try. It ain't for lack of effort. He ain't gonna stop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man, so what? Man, I always have been told blood tracking dog.
yeah.
Blood tracking dog.
Everybody
blood tracking
thinks
dog.
blood tracking dog.
That's
blood
the
tracking
first
dog.
time I've ever heard about that gland.
Yeah, a lot of
So-
people. Yeah, that gland. That's what they train them on. That's what everybody pretty much trains them on. But yeah, everybody kind of thinks blood tracking dog. Yeah, that's all you say. Well, if you got blood, you don't need a dog. You hear people say that. Or well, in the dog world, you'll hear people say that stuff all the time. Well, you got blood, you don't need a dog. Which hey, it is here and there. Sometimes you still need one. You might just have a speck here, there, here, there.
Yep.
You still need one. That's what I tell people all the time too. If the second you feel like you're gonna have an issue finding that deer, it's like back out, call a dog, because like that integral gland scent, if you're walking on that track and say you start making circles and you're crossing where that deer in, and you're dragging that scent this way, you're dragging that scent that way, that'll also throw a dog off real quick because they locked on that one scent and that's what they're following. That's why I tell people a lot of times, like, if you're tracking it, you run out of blood, whatever, and you've got the resources to call and get a dog, just back straight back out and go call a dog.
Yeah.
And get him out there as soon as you can. Quicker the better. Especially right now, as dry as it is, that scent's gonna dry up pretty quick. And so that's why I just tell people, like, especially you got a big deer on the ground, like that guy the other day, 165-inch deer, biggest one he's ever killed with a bow. He wanted a dog on him quick, and we hauled butt up there and tried to get on him, just couldn't make it happen. I don't know. That dog ran around every corner of that place. And now knowing how he was shot, thinking about how he was shot and stuff, especially after how everything went down. I'm thinking that deer's probably, unfortunately, it's probably gonna get septic in a couple of days, and it probably ain't gonna make it. You know, Sorry we couldn't find him, everything else, but it just, it was funny the way he was acting. I was just like, that deer's alive. When you gonna find him?
Man. And you heard Gary talking about if you got the resources, and now all of our viewers here have a resource.
Yeah.
And he's, you're based right there out of Jacksboro.
Yep.
Like you said, a couple hours. I mean, shoot, that's Wichita.
Wichita, Seymour.
yeah.
You get out that way, De Leon. Make a big circle around that area. I'll pretty much go. Especially if there's somebody closer that I know's got a good dog and they're not busy, I might say, hey, call them, see if they can get there first. If not, I'll get on the way, something like that. Anybody wants to, reach out to me. Like I said, I ran a herd of Springtown the other night, had the dog on the ground in about 45 minutes to an hour after the guy called me, and we found the deer within 10 minutes. Anybody need to get a hold of me, call me anytime, day or night.
You want to give them your phone number?
Yeah, 254-979-9020. Like I said, call me, shoot me a text, day or night. I don't answer a text message. Just pick up the phone, call me. I promise you I'll get up if I'm in the area. Of course, my in-laws, we got a ranch in South Texas, so, wife likes to go down there and go hunting and stuff like that. She got somebody to watch the kids. She loves to hunt, too, so we were going back and forth. I've been getting to do all this elk hunting, so I'll be watching the kids a lot during deer season.
Well, that deer right above your head right there was my wife. She's a hunting fool, and, the story on that, it was hilarious. So we had this buck that was coming in, and I think I was sending you pictures of it. It was on Game Cam.
Yeah.
And I said, man, this thing, somebody called it turkey foot. I don't know, because it had the weird palmation on its antlers. And so I was a boat captain, taking some high school kids fishing that morning. We launched the boat. It's cold. She goes hunting, opening morning of gun season. She goes hunting. I get a text message. Turkey foot is dead. And I went, oh, no, you did not. No, you didn't. And she sends me a picture of that deer, and I said, no, you must have got his kinfolk, because that ain't the one. And she was so bummed out. And then, like I said, Thanksgiving Day, this one walked out, and I busted him. So it was funny, man. It was kind of cool how that happened. But didn't need a tracking dog on either one of those because it was during rifle season. But, I mean, if you're a good shot with a rifle, I'm sure you get plenty of gunshots.
I've got gunshots too. Like I said, I put him on one last year. Had a leg blown off. Put a few of those last year. Legs blown off. He found them, made them up. We got in, dispatched them. There's one he couldn't get shut down. We were in some real thick country. Like I said, he's a pup. He just couldn't get him shut down. We ended up. I called another guy that couldn't make it in time. I got out there, dropped mine on him, figured out where he went. Got that other dog out there, got him on him, and that dog got him shut down. Wow. That dog's a 5-year dog, though.
Yeah.
Talking a 1.5-year-old pup and a 5.5-year-old dog, that's kind of two different stories, But no, it's most of the time, if I talk to you on the phone, kind of see like what you're seeing, send some pictures, stuff like that, I can usually tell you that I went and dropped one for a kid last year. I kind of told the guy before, I said, seeing the blood that you're sending me and everything, what you're saying, I don't think the deer's dead. But I'll bring the dog out there and see if we can get locked in on something. I ain't going to charge you nothing. Heck, he was right by the house. Young kid, know him. I really want a kid to find the deer. Go out there, drop the dog, don't find nothing. Next weekend, kid kills him.
Wow.
Hit brisket, shot him, just like I told him. I said, I think you hit him low. I said, the deer will be back. Following weekend, they hadn't seen him on camera. They're kind of, man, we ain't seen him on camera. Following weekend, they're out there Saturday morning, boom, bust him.
Wow.
Yep.
Crazy how tough these deer are, man.
Dude, it's insane some of the stuff you see. Go through.
But y'all stay with us. We're going to take a real quick break, and then we're going to talk bow fishing.
Yeah.
So Gary's a huge bow fisherman. I personally have never been bow fishing, so he's going to tell us all about it. So anyway, y'all stay with us.
Yeah.
This show is brought to you by K5 Trolling Motors and Electronics out here in Weatherford, Texas. If you need a trolling motor worked on, if you need a trolling motor, buy a new one. If you're ready to upgrade those electronics, feel free to give us a holler, 817-757-9915. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. Welcome back to Texas Live with K5 here. Got a really good friend of mine, Gary. We've been talking hunting. We started off with elk. We've talked about he's got a tracking dog. Like I said, here local guys, if y'all need a deer track, don't hesitate to give him a call. His dog would love to have the work. But But man, I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit of fishing.
Yeah.
Man, I've never been bow fishing before. I know you and I have talked about it a bunch, and you tell me that it's a blast. You want to? I mean, you do some guided trips with that too, don't you?
Yeah, I take some people out up at Graham, PK, Hubbard. Oh yeah, we talked about it plenty because I bring my burn up trolling motors down here.
Man, I never knew that there was such a market for hand control
Yeah,
trolling motors
yeah,
until you came over, and then after you came over, I've had several other bow fishermen come by.
yeah.
If I get a hand control, I make one phone call to you and a couple other guys, and that thing is sold.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
they want them, man.
Yeah, you got to have a couple extra ones. When you're fishing shallow. Most of the time you're bow fishing, you're fishing up shallow on the banks. Sometimes out in flats. You're beating props off. These lakes around here, especially PK, Hubbard,
Rocky.
Graham, Rocky, Bridgeport. You get any of these lakes around here, you're rocky, you're bouncing, you breaking shafts, filling the freaking house in full of water. Like you just, bow fishermen, I tell you right now, the hardest person ever on a trolling motor is going to be a bow fisherman because they're going to run it wide open 24/7. And they're going to knock it off everything in the lake.
That's so funny, man. So, I mean, I feel like we need some more bow fishermen out there because it seems like in the springtime when I'm out looking for a largemouth on a bed,
Oh, yeah.
I can't tell you how many times, nope, that's a carp, nope, that's a carp, and it drives me insane,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
These lakes are full of them, but I guess it's how they control algae and vegetation.
Yeah, it's a lot of control algae and vegetation. Of course, you need some kind of control there, and you ain't got nothing. There's, of course, you got in the lake, you got everything. You eat a little bass, other bass, other game fish stuff, eat them, but nothing's gonna eat those perch, or not perch, but those gar, and then nothing's gonna eat them carp. Carp's mostly all algae and stuff. There's some nights you go out, and it's just like any kind of fishing, any kind of hunting. You go out, even though you got the big lights, everything. I think I got 14 lights on my boat. I got a couple other buddies got boats. I run LEDs. Another buddy runs LEDs. Got one buddy who runs hydrogens. He's got like all the stuff to run those, and that's a whole different ordeal. You get into those.
Can you see better?
A little bit.
Okay.
Under his lights, you can see a little bit better. I don't know what it is about those bulbs, the tint of the color, something. It's real hard to mimic with LEDs. I've got real not cool lights because you want to run more of a warm, like a orangish, not orange, but yellowish orangish light because it penetrates the muddy water better.
Okay.
Then, of course, on clear water, it's going to penetrate it no matter what kind of light you got. But usually try to run those, get down in there and see. Sometimes real muddy, you're just shooting at shadows. You're up like that. You mostly know what you're shooting at. We try not to shoot at something if we don't know what it is. Last thing I want to do is shoot a bass or something like that.
Right.
Out there. Just don't want to do that. But yeah, it's something else. So you can get in them nights. Like, man, earlier this year we rolled in 45 minutes. We dang near put 100 fish in the boat.
Wow.
And we were actually fishing a tournament, and we put right at 100 fish in the boat, 45 minutes, just whack, whack, whack. As fast as we could shoot, we were reeling in, throwing one in the boat, grabbing another one, shoot, and then dead. And it just like a light switch flip.
They just go a little deeper? Or?
They just go a little deeper. They get off the banks. I don't know if it's something to do with the temperature change in the water because it's dark. It's something to do with that, but it's just like hunting. They're either on or they're not.
Man.
We've had nights. You catch the gar spawn just right. Heck, you get on one of these lake dams or something around here in a good rock bed or a good flat, and that gar will just be sitting on top of one another. Like, heck, you could throw an arrow in the water and just hit one. And so those nights are fun too. And then of course you get the carp spawn. They're all piled up. And usually those are a few days here and there. That's not all year. I say a good night, go out, especially if I'm guiding a trip. Good night. I want somebody to shoot 50, 60 times, and out of 50, 60 times, they put 5, 10 fish in the boat. Hey, that's a pretty successful night,
I bet they're wore out.
Oh, they're wore out.
I mean,
them bows, all my bows are set on 30 pounds. You know, got bows for grown adults, women, kids, whatever. You know, they're all set pretty low. I actually have a couple smaller ones that I can turn down even lower than that for kids. You know, they have a blast, man. And what's funny is you'll get somebody out there. They're like, I've never shot at a bow. I've never been around anything like that, and it's all instinctual. Like that's what people call it, is instinctual shooting or instinct shooting. And so they just got that natural, you know, come right up here. They're looking down the arrow. You know, that's what they know. You know, that's the only way they know to do it. You just, you know, you'll see them shooting right over them, right over them. You're like, because you got to think the way that arrow hits water, it ricochets. It kind of ricochets up a little bit. So you always got to tell them, aim lower. You know, the further out there they are, that lower you got to aim, because that arrow hits the water, it's going to go, you know, like that. And so, you know, them arrows are heavy, solid fiberglass. But still, it's, you know, I love watching people do it because they have a blast.
You got to really keep an eye on them, make sure they push the button on the reels and all that junk.
Yeah,
Okay.
stuff like that. They're tearing stuff. They're tearing stuff up, not on purpose.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
there's
probably just like any other fishing guide.
any other fishing guide. You know, you get people out there that haven't done it a whole lot. They're going through stuff. You know, I've got bows. Shoot, I can take a set of Allen wrenches and rebuild any bow on my boat in about 20 minutes.
Wow.
You know, I've got lever bows for that purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, man. That's awesome. So, when's the peak season for being able to do that?
Spring, usually March, April, May.
Okay.
Really good fishing. When the water starts getting up, it starts kind of turning, getting, you know, late in the night, you know. I say that, you know, July, took a group out. Shoot, we had 10 fish in the boat in about 15 minutes. And I was like, oh, man, what's going on tonight? You know, there's fish everywhere. It's just funny, man. They'll be there, they won't be there. Be there, won't be there. I don't know if it's something to do with the moon that day, the water, the way the wind had been blowing, what it was that day. But just pop. We got into them.
Wow. So, buffaloes, grass carp, I guess, needle-nosed gar,
Needle-nose, commons,
gator.
When we go to South Texas, shoot some gators. You'll find some gators around Waco. You start getting over on them rivers, the Brazos, the Trinity, which Trinity's a draw tag now that you got to draw through the state of Texas.
Really?
Yep. To go fish the Trinity. There's a bunch of big gar in there. But we go to South Texas, Choke Canyon, Falcon, Mathis, down at Corpus. Of course, you can get out there on them salt flats, like where they're flounder gigging.
Yeah.
Them gar love them flounder.
Man.
And they can live in that brackish water, so they'll get up in there. We've been up there before, gigging flounder with the flounder guide, and have our bow fishing bows shooting some too. And then all of a sudden, like, you'll just see a big 5-6 footer just roll out. Everybody's just like, oh, you know, like you're trying to get that one. You know, we want to put that one in the boat.
Yeah.
Which we've shot a bunch of good ones, you know, 5. A lot of 5s, you know. Most time you shoot a 5, it's like, oh, you know, you tell people, hey, don't shoot that. Sometimes, you know, middle of the night, you just see one down there, especially hydrilla, grown-up lake, something like that. You don't know how big it is. Most of the time we try to shoot, you know, 6s. You know, we've got a bunch of 6s, a couple in the 7s. I ain't broke the 8-foot range. You know, that's a hard one to break right there.
Man.
There's a boy down there in South Texas, Robert Blackburn. He owns aluminum fab, all that stuff. That boy kills some big old gar down there.
Man.
He's got a bunch of guys down there he knows. They go kill some big gar down there. He's a serious bow fisherman.
Isn't he the one that you said he builds boats?
Yeah.
Or?
He actually, after my boat got hit in that tornado in Jacksboro and busted it all up, I actually took my boat down there. He rebuilt it, built me all custom light boxes, everything, fixed me up. You know, you would have saw the before and afters of that boat, and everybody been like, oh, that boat's done for. I'd take it down there to him. He worked his magic on it, got it all back out, and shoot, I'm rocking and rolling.
Man. And your boat, man, how many tornadoes y'all been in?
It's just one.
Oh, okay. I thought it was more than that. It seemed
No.
like Jacksboro was getting hammered there for a while, man.
Well, we had one come through last year.
Yeah.
Right there south of town. Luckily, we ain't had any more.
Man.
I feel like I rode a few out on the lake. You know, middle of the night during the springtime, when them storms roll up, you're pinned out heading to the boat ramp. Let's get this boat out of the water, you know, especially got some people with me. Like, we got to get it out of here.
Yeah, for sure,
yeah.
man. That's wild, dude. And we had a little close call this year here. You know, we had those 3 tornadoes just right here by the house, and I've lived here my whole life, man, and never we've never experienced that before.
Yeah.
I was actually in a storm cellar
Yeah.
up the road.
Yeah, we got a storm cellar. My wife, she had, it was her and my 11-month-old were at the house when that EF3 rolled over. And luckily, the house held up good. They were okay. Needless to say, we got a storm shelter real quick.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Yes, ma'am. We're getting one.
That's so funny. My wife's on me about it. But all of our soil out here is solid rock.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm going to have to go and get an excavator with a rock
Yep.
hammer on it just to get through.
Yep.
So, anyway, we hadn't done it yet, but
Yep.
eventually it's going to happen. I promise you.
Oh, yeah. Gonna have to. Gonna have to.
But, well, guys, man, Gary, I don't have anything else.
No,
man, I'd love to have you back on again if you'd like to come on maybe after hunting season. We could talk about what,
Yeah.
we can
talk
what
about
y'all
what
got into.
happens, all that stuff, man. Like I said, so far it's kicked off good. We've had some good hunts. The year's been, we usually every year, beginning of the year, we kick off, did a lot of varmint hunting. We go hunt a bunch of varmint contests. Killed a buttload of dogs earlier this year. They were thicker than thieves. Killed a bunch of them.
Because all the rain, is that?
Man, I don't know. They just been a bunch of dogs the past few years. It's like they're breeding like crazy. I don't know what's going on. Then through the spring, summer, we're bow fishing. We got to keep ourselves busy in the woods somehow.
Yeah.
Of course, we're biting at the bit for September to roll around and go get on something then. This year, like I said, we got to go on that bear hunt with Vortex. My buddy that owns the store up there got invited up there to go hunt with them. Went up there with him. It was awesome. He shot a big old black bear, 651 yards, rolled him.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome to see Idaho and all that. That was my first trip up to that neck of the woods. And then, of course, we're in Colorado and New Mexico. Got buddies killed elk already all over the place this year. And
wow.
then, of course, kicking off guide and actually killed a big red stag last Sunday morning. Then took off to Oklahoma, tracked a deer. This weekend, I got red stag hunters. I'm going to take some guys pig hunting Friday night, red stag hunters Saturday and Sunday. So it's, full hunting season's here, and it's in full swing for me.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, I don't know. My in-laws, my wife's family and everything, they're big hunters, but they ain't as big a hunters, Gary. I'm telling you, this guy is a hunting fool. So if y'all get a chance, reach out to him. Go bow fishing with him.
Yeah.
Go check out their the outfitter there in Graham.
Clear Fork Country.
Maybe we'll have them on the show at some point. But like I said, give Gary a call if you got a deer that's down. You need to track it. And man, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, Tim. Anytime, man.
I appreciate it, brother.
Heck yeah, it's
All
awesome
right.
as always.
Yeah, for sure. Until next time, guys, we'll see y'all on the water.
Thank you for tuning in to Texas Live with K5, your number one source for all things outdoors in North Texas. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify to support us and enjoy more North Texas outdoor content. Like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. If you're interested in joining the show or us mentioning your business throughout the show, contact us at k5trollingmotors@gmail.com.